Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Jen. So I wanted to go through a mycotoxin analysis with you guys, and it's my mycotoxin. So I wanted to kind of tell you guys my health story. I think it might help some people out there. So we're always putting puzzle pieces together, and that is our health, right? We don't just wake up one day with health problems. We don't just wake up one day with thyroid problems, autoimmune problems. It doesn't happen like that. It's all part of a story. So I always looked at my health problems and in my childhood, and I never really made the mold connection. So my parents had a house fire about, oh gosh, Cyrus was Emery's age. So it was about 4 years ago. And they had to gut their whole house. And so they had to redo my childhood bathroom. And my mom was like, hey, remember when there were mushrooms growing in your bathroom? Because we had carpet in our bathroom. And I was like, oh my gosh, I do. And then I also remember I flooded my bathroom, a few times when I was a teenager, and my parents were like, oh my gosh, you're in high school and you're worrying about the drama and you forget you turn the bathtub on. So when I look back, I think I definitely had mold exposure in my childhood home. And that is when my autoimmune problems started, but they weren't diagnosed until I had a frozen biopsy of my thyroid. So don't let that happen to you. Make sure you're with very diligent practitioners and integrative medicine doctors. So looking back, I have known that I've had mold exposure. And also, who knows, at the dorm I lived in college, or the apartments, I could have had some mold exposure then. So I haven't really tested myself because I have been pregnant or breastfeeding for the last decade, and I haven't really been in a place where I could do anything about it. So I finally am like, okay, I'm gonna test. So I will show you guys. I never expected, though, what I found. So what we're doing, we are looking at right here. This is my mycotoxin profile. Okay. And what this shows is not exactly, it doesn't show mold species. It shows the mycotoxins that are made by mold. And when we look at mycotoxins are not good. They're toxins to our body. Okay. They're mainly immunosuppressive. That is what they are. So when we also look at mold, there are mycotoxins in certain food. Okay. The main one that we think of is aflatoxin and peanuts. Okay. So this is when we get in the debate, what is better, eating moldy organic peanut butter, or because organic is going to be a little bit more moldy because they're not using all of the antifungal elements and insecticides and stuff on the peanuts, or do we want chemically sprayed fungicides and non-organic peanut butter that might have less aflatoxin in them? Well, I would rather have my body detox something that it is more natural than something that's not like a unnatural man-made fungicide. So aflatoxin. So this usually is elevated. It's produced by the mold species Aspergillus. And, aflatoxins they can be very carcinogenic in the environment. A lot of different factors too, is if you're going to excrete these more or not, such as like age and your sex. So aflatoxin, it can be found, it may be sourced in water damaged buildings. So when we're getting at higher levels, you might be concerned about that. And when you actually have in Aspergillus, a really concerning aflatoxin exposure, you can have, this would be an acute kind of exposure. And this is known, there are different studies on this, that you have these acute symptoms, which is like really extreme headache, rash, and gastrointestinal, like stomach upset and stuff. So So aflatoxin is more removed with the glutathione transferase system. So this is when you're going to want to have, NAC, which is a precursor to glutathione or glutathione. So aflatoxin, it's also hard on the liver, like many mycotoxins. So when you look at a level like this, you want to rule out water damage buildings and colonization, and you also want to reduce it in your food. And shortly after this, I did take peanuts out of my diet for a while, so it will be interesting to test. So arachnotoxin A, so very nephrotoxic, very immunotoxic and suppressant, and also carcinogenic mycotoxin. And this is also produced by Aspergillus. Also can also be produced by the penicillium family. So this primary exposure is water damage buildings. Okay, you can get a little bit in your food for things such as wine or fruit that's like dried on the vine, like grapes, and coffee too. So moldy coffee, I actually had a case study. I should write this up on a patient that was having stroke-like symptoms, and her aflatoxin levels came back high, and her arachnotoxin A came back high. And we kind of traced it back to this coffee that she was drinking a lot of. And when she wasn't drinking it, she was fine. So very interesting. We always forget about mycotoxins, and they could cause really severe problems. And, dopamine levels are affected by arachnotoxin A. The brain's affected. They're linking arachnotoxin A exposure to things like Alzheimer's and dementia. So this is something that you definitely want to make sure that we'll go over treatment in a little bit, that you do not want to have exposure to this. And, I've seen so many crazy case studies, and hopefully I will get, I have a patient that wants to share her story that we can get on here also. So then we scroll down and then we look at the penicillium. So mycophenolic acid. So this is mainly found in blue cheese. It's also used for food sources, also found in water damage building if it is higher levels. The other concern is with mycophenolic is that this is severely immunosuppressant, and it is used for kidney patients. It's actually an immunosuppressant drug, so there's not a kidney transplant rejection. So sorry, I skipped over the big one, gliotoxin. So in the Aspergillus family. So gliotoxin is produced by the mold genus Aspergillus. So Aspergillus is also concerning because it can infiltrate the small alveoli airways of individuals. So gliotoxin inhibits the immune system. Okay, it's very immunosuppressant, and gliotoxin also impairs the activation of T cells. Okay, so that also affects monocyte-derived dendritic cells, and dendritic cells. They are what you need in your brain. Okay, that's the synapses in your brain, very important. So gliotoxin, very neurotoxic, and these impairments in the dendritic cells, this can lead to certain neurodegenerative symptoms such as multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis is heavily linked to gliotoxin. A lot of different PubMed studies out there. It's very terrifying. So when I saw this, my level is very high. I was floored, but I was also happy. Why? Because I know it's there, because I did this test, and I know I need to detox my body and then retest and make sure my levels are going down. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know that we did have a frozen pipe, and we had our bathroom and basement flood, and we're in the process of remediating. It's a pain. But 2 months before that, I tested my house and it was negative for any mold. And then I had our guy from Mold Pro come, and he looked the house all over. So the crazy thing was, after less than 24 hours of this water pipe bursting, we had mold in the drywall because it was wet there. So if you have someone telling you out there that, oh, you got there quickly. No, if something has been sitting there, mold can form in less than 24 hours. Get it out, right? So that's really scary. So this gliotoxin, this is from the past, because I've not lived in a moldy home in the last 4 years. You know, my home now is not moldy. So this is past exposure. I'm colonized. The mold is happy. The aspergillus is happy and living in my gut. And it's going to stay there until I kick it out, because mold and fungus, they love that warm, moist environment. And they're going to chill out there, and they're going to produce these mycotoxins so they can survive. So, Saccharobacter, this one is scary. This is also black mold. Find this a lot after hurricanes. I don't see a lot of this one around Northwest Ohio, but I will have patients that have lived elsewhere, and these will come up. Okay. And then if you go to my Healthology by Dr. Jen, I go through all of these also. Fusarium. So, Xarelon, this one is interesting. It can mimic estrogen. So I have seen this in patients, and it has affected them from a hormonal standpoint. Extreme estrogen dominance symptoms, that symptoms improved with oral progesterone while we were getting them out of mold. So this mold can actually affect your hormone health, right? So we definitely get concerned about that. This species also black mold. And then citronellin. So this one is a mycotoxin. It's produced by a bunch of different mold genres. So Aspergillus, Penicillium, and Monoceros. So this exposure, acute exposure, can lead to nephrotoxicity because it's very permeable to the mitochondrial membranes of the kidneys. Okay. So most common exposure routes are, you know, ingesting in food, inhaling, and skin exposure. So this does suppress the immune system and can be carcinogenic also. So when we look at this one, it's multiple mold species. So sometimes we'll just have this one elevated. And this is like, this could be elevated if you go outside, you're doing mulch. Okay. So if you have these acute exposures, your body's getting rid of it and detoxing. Okay. So that is not going to be as much of a red flag as if, you know, this and then a bunch of other ones were also, which would indicate water damage. So that one, you know, we still want to work on detoxifying our body, and on repeat, we want to make sure these are going down. So usually mycotoxin tests are repeated in about 3 to 6 months after treatment. So why doesn't everyone look at mycotoxin? So first, you have to learn how to read the tests. You have to know how to treat. You have to understand what mycotoxins are. It's just a different training that you learn in school and you have to commit to. It's a different world. It's very complex too. And it's looking for the root cause. So it's really fascinating, because when I talk with patients and do a consult and they have something mysterious, I like taking them through their whole like childhood, like where'd you live, in what house, any way there could be mold, right? And I start like kind of laying their thought process on their environment, because I think a lot of people are always like, what did I do wrong? Why did I get sick? How did I end up there? No, it's your genetics and it's your environment and it's epigenetics. So we have to put all the puzzle pieces together. We just can't say, okay, these are your symptoms. We think it's a diagnosis, like POTS, for example. Here's your diagnosis. Here are meds, we're done. No, we have to figure out why is your body doing this? Our body doesn't just have headaches for no reason, or rashes, or weight gain, or insulin resistance. So we have to figure out why. Let's talk a little bit about treatment. Okay. So when we talk about treatment, I will go to my mold protocol. Okay. So this is on Healthology by Dr. Jen, mold protocol. And yes, I always have that many tabs open because I'm always looking at studies. Oh, it's bad. Okay. So mold protocol. So here's the thing about mold protocol. So think of it. My boys play baseball. It's bases, right? You can't just skip to home plate. You can't go to second. You have to tag first. Okay. You have to remove yourself from the moldy environment first. Okay. Now to start treatment, we could still support the body and do liver aid and do liver support and castor oil packs and things like that in binders while you're living in mold. But to actually kill and treat the mold, we want to wait till you're out of the moldy environment. And a lot of times I will ask patients, when do your symptoms get better when you're out of your house on vacation or something like that? And a lot of the times they say yes. So then maybe it's your environment going on. So first base, removal from the moldy environment. Second base, we want to treat the invasive mold. So you could do a medication route, or you can do botanicals. Botanicals are going to be a little bit less taxing on our body, while itraconazole or Sporinex is going to be a little bit harder on the liver, and the mycotoxins are already hard on the liver because that's how they're getting metabolized. So most of my patients and I am doing the botanical route. So third base, aid in the mycotoxin removal from the body. So we want to help the removal of those mycotoxin and the byproducts from actually, killing it out. So these would be like binders, NAC, sauna, and other detox pathways to remove the mold from the body. And then home run. So we're going to repair and restore the body. So these are foundational products such as omega-3 B vitamins, vitamin D, magnesium, and probiotics and prebiotics with gut health. So if you think you have mold in your home, so gut mold is a good home mold test that draws air samples in, or then an ERMI test is another way. Really what's helpful is having someone that is an inspector that knows what they're doing and looking for coming into the home. That's kind of the gold standard. So invasive mold, get out of the mold, supplements. So Candida Stat, 2 capsules 3 times a day for 2 weeks. And then we're going to alternate with biocidin liquid for 2 weeks. And biocidin is going to break up biofilms. And it also is good to just switch these things up. I get the best results when we just don't use monotherapy, when we switch things up and approach the mold from different ways and kind of confuse it because we want it out. And then you're going to go back to the Candida Stat, and then you're going to alternate and increase the biocidin. You're going to be on liver aid, liver support, 3 capsules daily for 1 month, and then 2 capsules daily. So this is the protocol I am doing. Stress adapt or some sort of adaptogen, discuss with your doctor what would be best. Stress adapt is good for just an overall kind of for anyone, if you're really stressed or if your adrenals are kind of like not functioning or hypofunctioning, it's going to meet them in the middle. Stress less is also a good adaptogen. And that's if you're more like high, like always stressed out. ProSpore is great. It's going to have immunoglobulin to kind of soak everything up and heal the gut and take it out. And then also spore-based probiotic, because we're going to be seeding the spore-based probiotics in there to help heal that gut. And then glutathione or NAC. I prefer NAC. It's a precursor to glutathione. And most of the times when I check people, their organic acids testing, they are low in NAC, which is the precursor to glutathione. So we want to support that. And then you want to take a binder. So I take my binder at night, and that's really the only time I can do it because I am taking thyroid medication in the morning. Some people can do it in the morning, but you want it to be on an empty stomach. And then the protocol is usually 2 to 3 months, and we retest mycotoxin in 3 to 6 months. So when you're looking at the mold treatment, you also want to do stuff like sauna, like I said, sauna, or you can do castor oil packs. You want to do dry brushing. With this treatment plan, you're not going to have a lot of Herx reactions or detox reactions. If you are having Herx or detox reactions, then your body wasn't ready for a big protocol. And you really want to rethink that. And, I'll have patients come to me that have had Herx reactions with other practitioners, and I'm just like, and I know if patients come to me and they want to just get started right away, we know they have mold issues, and I'm like, we got to prep your body first. We got to get it ready. And I usually do a gut and liver detox, and that really helps them out. So, this gut and liver restore program is really helpful because it goes through detox. So a lot of the times this is really nice because it's getting your gut ready and your liver ready for some sort of program. So I will share all those links. So I just wanted to go over some lab testing. I've had more requests for lab testing, and I don't mind if you guys know my whole health history. So it's a journey that I would love to share. And I'm hoping I can, I'll get some more stories on here of people that want to share their health journey and give people hope that they can get better. So I am super excited and just to start this healing. And like I said, I'm so grateful because imagine if I did not know about this and, I'm 60 or 70 and I want to be running around with my grandchildren and I'm struggling, and it's because I have these mycotoxins in me and I didn't know about it. So, knowledge is power, and it's really important, pay now or pay later. I give the example with my thyroid. I would have paid I don't even know how much money, I can't even quantify how much money I would have spent to see a doctor like me when I was in high school and going through my thyroid stuff. It would have saved me. I think I calculated, and because I've been on thyroid medication since I was a junior in high school, and it would have saved me like $16,000. This is with insurance paying out thyroid medicine, $16,000. Plus I had thyroid surgery. I'm sure that's another like 10 grand. I mean, and I'm still paying, for my thyroid labs and my thyroid medications, because my thyroid, you can see my scar because I had to have it removed. So an ounce of prevention is worth its weight in gold, right? So remember that, and, just keep doing the basics, nutrition, sleep, movement, and breath work. So we want to just keep on that also. Thank you. So if you really enjoyed this video, think other people could learn from my story and it would help others with their health, please subscribe and please share my YouTube with others if you think this would be helpful, and leave a comment below on what topics you would want me to go over next. Thank you.